Okay, so we've got some URC stats from now that the regular season is done. There's going to be a series of these videos covering different aspects. We'll also have some on individual performances as well, like who the top kind of performers across the league. Some of the stats will be kind of today and tomorrow, and then others will be next week because there's a lot of information to get through. Also, I would just ask that if you wouldn't mind sharing this, posting comments, etc., because it really does help the channel out. Now, we're going to start with attack today. First up is points scored. We've got the Bulls at the top with 613, Leinster 518 second, Ulster 554, Stormers 531, Glasgow Warriors 498, Sharks 486, Munster 470, Edinburgh 466, Connacht 456, Lions 454, Benetton 440, Scarlets 435, Cardiff 425, Ospreys 400, Dragons 391, and Zebra at the bottom there were 343. So just some things that hop out to me. First of all, Bulls pipping Leinster to most points. They scored 140 points in the last two rounds, including 62 against Leinster and then 78 against Zebra. And then they've scored as well 270 points more than Zebra, who were bottom of the rankings there. The numbers on the right there, the plus minus, shows in terms of this stat where they are, are they higher or lower than the actual league position, final position. So Bulls up 5 places from their 6th place finish in the overall league. Other big movers then, Edinburgh 4 places up, and then we've got Cardiff 3 places down. The rest of the teams in and around where they finished overall in the league. Next, then we have tries scored. Leinster at the top of this one with 84, Bulls 78, Ulster 75, Glasgow 72, Edinburgh 70, Stormers 69, Connacht and Munster 65, Sharks 63, Benetton 56, Lions 55, Cardiff and Ospreys 52, Scarlets 51, Zebra 50, and Dragons 46. So in this we've got Leinster at the top there. Even the Bulls, with scoring a lot of tries in the last 2 rounds, could not overtake them. And then a surprising thing was the fact that Zebra got over the Dragons as well. I didn't expect that to happen, but I think it kind of speaks to the fact that they had a lot of performances where they came close to getting that win, but just couldn't get over the line in the end. And maybe some bright signs for next year. Not in terms of not expecting them to be suddenly zooming up the table or anything like that, but for a win, I think they're getting closer to it. And once they get the first one, then just build on that and try and get more. In terms of the rankings, then again, Bulls 4 places up from where they finished in the table. Edinburgh 7 places up, just shows that attack and try scores is not their big issue. The issues in other areas, and we'll see that when we do the other stats videos. Stormers down 3. And then everybody else kind of in and around where they finished in the table. Next time we have offloads. We've got the Stormers at the top there with 201. Munster 193. Bulls 182. Zebra 178. Glasgow 169. Dragons 163. Scarlets 158. Ospreys 156. Edinburgh 150. Leinster 149. Benetton 147. Sharks 146. Cardiff 139. Ulster 137, the Lions 133, and Connacht at the bottom there with 118. So Stormers, the top offloaders in the league. Munster, 2nd place there, shows that their new attacking system really is beginning to bed in for them. Zebra right up there as well, 178. Now, so you see a lot of teams like Dragons, Scarlets, Ospreys, Edinburgh, kind of towards the top of these stats, but then it kind of feeds into something that I've been talking about during the season, is that some teams are almost offloading for offloading's sake, or they're offloading because they're under pressure and they're trying to move the ball away from the point of contact and, not get turned over. Whereas, the likes of the Stormers, Munster, and the Bulls, and also Glasgow up there, like four to top five, those are the teams that we've seen, having really good runs of form and, scoring lots of points as well. They're all around that kind of top level of the points scored too. In terms of movers then, so got Zebre 12 up from their last place finish, Dragons 9 up, Scarlets 7, Ospreys 5 up, Leinster down 9, Ulster down 12, and Connacht down 9. So Connacht, they're an exciting team going forward, but they tend to not offload as much as the other teams. And I think part of that is to do with, the different way that certain teams attack. Like Connacht, they make their attacks and then it's normally a recycle rather than an offload, and only really offloading when it's on. Next time we have meters gained, so we have the Bulls at the top again with 7,405. Leinster next, 7,231. Scarlet 6,896. The Sharks 6,801. Ulster 6,781. Glasgow 6,673. Munster 6,659. Edinburgh 6,656. Stormers 6,491. Benetton 6,377. Lions 6,220. Dragons 6,190. Connacht 5,929. Zebre 5,821. Cardiff 5,819. And then Ospreys at the bottom there were 5,720. So again, Bulls doing really well on attack, lots of meters gained. To have that combination of like the big ball carriers in the pack, but also some elusive backs as well. And I think in the last couple of rounds, we saw them go back to the way they were towards the start of the season, where those were working in tandem together to great effect. Whereas they had that kind of patch towards the middle to end of the season where, they lost in the Heineken Cup, etc., where it was, and then they had that bad run of form as well, where they were keeping it in the pack almost exclusively and not using their backs. And then finally, when they switched back to the combination, it actually worked a lot better for them. In terms of where teams are, like movers and shakers, etc. Bulls again up 5, Scarlets up 11. So Scarlets can make lots of meters, but it kind of brings up the question then of their, like, how clinical they are. They're obviously not taking their chances if they're making that many meters, and they were way down the table. Now again, they're in decent form coming towards the end of the season, but this is for the entire season. And yeah, you would say that they've obviously worked on being a little more clinical, but probably more work to do for them for next year. We've got the Sharks up 4, Edinburgh up 4, Stormers down 6. So Stormers, a little bit surprising. Would have expected them to be up there at least in the top 5 for that, but Stormers, have other ways as well for attacking, especially things like their kicking game, etc. Then we have the Connacht down 6 and Cardiff down 5 as well. Next time we have defenders beaten. So top of this one, we've got Edinburgh with 373, then Glasgow 362, Lions 335, Leinster 333, Munster 327, Sharks 306, Ospreys 300, Stormers 299, Scarlets 298, Benetton 294, Bulls 292, Ulster 283, Zebre 264, Connacht 249, Cardiff 248, and Dragons 247. So Edinburgh right at the top there with most defenders beaten. And again, it kind of harks back to the Scarlets in that, if you're beating that many defenders, then you should really be, making more chances and We know they scored a lot of tries as well. Like they're the fifth place overall in tries, but again, it points to for them that there are issues in other areas that they need to fix. They had, they're in great form to start of the season, then into the second half of the season, just completely fell out of playoff places, and finished down in 12th overall. Glasgow there as well, though, showing that like the Scottish sides really have that knack of beating their man, and Glasgow for their season obviously was much better for them compared to Edinburgh, but positive signs at least for Edinburgh there. Then the movers, so Edinburgh up 11, Lions up 6. Great to see the Lions actually up there in third place, because they're kind of overshadowed sometimes with the other South African teams. Then we got Ospreys up 6, Stormers down 5, Bulls down 5, Ulster down 10, and Cardiff down 5. So we're seeing Cardiff a lot kind of towards the bottom of these stats, really. Next, then we have clean breaks. So Bulls again made the most clean breaks at 138, Scarlets 134, Benetton 125, Stormers 124, Glasgow 120, Leinster 118, Sharks 114, Lions 104, Ulster 102, Ospreys 100, Zebre 99, Edinburgh 93, Cardiff 90, Dragons also 90, Munster 89, and Connacht 76. So again, really good showing from the Bulls, like topping yet another stat. Scarlets again, we're seeing them close to the top of an attacking stat, but we know how their season went, so maybe attack is not the area that they need to work on, other than being more clinical when they get into position. Getting themselves in a position doesn't seem to be too much of an issue for them. It's just finishing things off. So probably got to work on their accuracy there. Benetton being up there in the top 3 as well, really good for them. But they are improving their all-around game as well. So would expect them again next year to kind of build on that. Down the bottom there, then we got like Munster and Connacht propping up the table for these stats. Munster, definitely seen them in the second half of the season, their attack improving, so would expect for them next season to be a bit higher up. Connacht, very surprising, because Connacht are kind of associated with a team that can make breaks, especially with the likes of Porch in the team. But yeah, I think that's maybe an area that they would like to improve on for next year as well. Then an interesting stat though here that kind of shows that Connacht, they may be bottom for clean breaks, but clean breaks versus tries, for every 1.17 clean breaks, Connacht are scoring a try. So when they do make that break, they're converting almost every time. Edinburgh next at 133, Ulster 1.36, Munster 1.37, Leinster 1.4, Glasgow 1.67, Cardiff 1.73, the Bulls 1.77, Stormers 1.8, Sharks 1.81, the Lions 1.89, Ospreys 1.92, Dragons 1.96, Zebre 1.98, Benetton 2.23, and Scarlets 2.63. So again, talking about the Scarlets having to be more clinical, and this stat really brings that home, because basically they need to make more than twice as many breaks as Connacht to actually come up with a try. So again, it shows they're getting in position, they're getting behind the opposition, but they're just not converting it into tries. And I think overall, Connacht being up there with Edinburgh as well just shows that for those teams, again, like other areas could maybe be improved, kind of like set piece and defense and stuff. When we come on to them, we'll see where the issues really lie for those teams, because Edinburgh on attack, fantastic, but there's no point in scoring 5 tries or 4 tries every game and then losing, let's say, 40 to 32 or something like that, it's still a loss, and you're not going to finish that high up the table if that's happening, every week or every second week to you. Then also, just in case you like your numbers the other way around, I've got tries to break as well. So basically 0.86 tries for Connacht for every break that they make, which you could kind of say it's an 86% conversion rate, but we don't have the evidence to say that not all of the tries come from breaks either, so you have to kind of just take that one with a pinch of salt. But just kind of interesting to see that, again, Scarlets, it's basically less than 0.4 of a try per break, or if it was a conversion rate, less than 40%. So lots for them to work on. Next, then, we're going to have a look at the overall attack here. So this one, I'm not going to speak too much about it. You can see that, the way I've arranged it is it's by shield and then alphabetical order by team in each shield, just so you can contrast and compare the teams from your shield and have all the stats in front of you rather than having to dig around in other places. And then, so you can pause that if you want to have a look at that a bit more. Next, then we have the attack rankings. So basically what I did was ranked each of them against, where they are against the others in terms of points, tries, offloads, etc., and then took the average of those, rankings that they got, and then from those, then rank those. So whoever had the lowest average ranking, which means that they would be closer to first in each of the stats, then they're first overall, and then just apply that all the way down. So you see that actually the Bulls, in terms of these stats, rank as the best attack in the URC from this season. You can see there as well so under points, they've got a gold one there. That means that they were first overall in that one. Any green ones mean that those are stats where their ranking was above their final table position in the URC, and any red ones means that ranking was below. So, in terms of any teams to see that have, generally at least, that have green there, means that their attack was performing better than their other facets of their game. And any ones with red means that the attack was actually down compared to other facets of the game. So, but then you do have teams, the likes of Leinster and Ulster. It's kind of difficult for them being first and second overall. Leinster can only equal their position, so they've got a couple of second places and first place, etc. So they've got a lot of red simply because they're first overall, and it's harder for them to match that. And then Ulster kind of similar with second. You can see that they had 3 third places there as well. But some areas for them, like offloads, defenders beating, and breaks, are well down on their final table position. Then we also have, like, if you want to refresh yourself on their final position, that's there as well on the right. And then we have plus or minus for their attack ranking versus their overall position. So we've got like the Bulls basically ranking number 1, Leinster next, Glasgow, then Stormers, Edinburgh, Munster, Ulster, Sharks, Scarlets, Lions, Benetton, Connacht, Ospreys, Zebre, Cardiff, and the Dragons. So again, Cardiff, their attack is definitely an area that they need to work on for next year. Now, next, I'm going to look at some charts. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about these. These are basically just, for you, if you want to pause and have a look at the charts themselves, or maybe kind of delve a bit deeper into things. But we're going to start with points scored. They're all going to be in the same format. So you can see that we've got, first of all, they're split by we have the bar chart at the top. It's segregated by the shield, and then we have each team within the shield, so to make it easy to compare rival teams against each other within the same shield. And then at the bottom, then we have a pie chart, which basically shows which of the shields are performing best in a certain category. So we can see for points scored, we've got South Africa with the most with 2,084, the Irish next with 2,064, the Scottish Italians 1,747, and the Welsh 1,651. So you can see kind of in the pie there that the Welsh with significantly smaller section than the top teams. Next, then we have tries scored. So again, same kind of deal here. And in terms of tries scored, the Irish are actually the top team here with 289. The South Africans 265. The Scottish/Italians 248, and the Welsh with 201. Again, a very small section of the pie for the Welsh teams overall. Next one then we have is offloads. So for this one then we have the South Africans at the top, 662. Next, Scottish Italians 644, Welsh 616, and then the Irish at the bottom with 597. So Irish teams not really offloading all that much, but if you look at the bar chart at the top, you can see that Munster stand out way above the rest of the Irish teams in terms of offloads, and it is a real big point of difference for them in that stat. Next, then we have meters made. So South African teams at the top there with almost 27,000. Next, then we have the Irish, the Scottish, and then the Welsh. And again, the Welsh slice of the pie, smaller than the others, but not significant compared to some of the other stats as well. But certainly, again, another area where they could show some improvement. Next time we have defenders beaten. So for this one, we have it's actually the Scottish Italians at the top with 1,293. Then the South Africans not too far behind them. A little bit further back are the Irish, and at the bottom are the Welsh. The Welsh basically 200 less than the Scottish Italians, and again, significantly smaller slice of the pie for them in that one. The last one then we're going to look at is clean breaks. So we can see then it is the South Africans leading the way with 480, the Scottish Italians with 437, Welsh 414, and the Irish this time are the ones with a very small slice of the pie with 385. And you can see again in the Irish Shield that Leinster kind of a bit of an outlier compared to the other Irish teams, but if you put them into any of the other shields, they're not going to stand out. They're not going to be top of any of those. And then we can also see in the Welsh Shield that like the Scarlets really are pulling up the rest of the Welsh teams by the basic bootstraps with the amount of clean breaks that they made. Okay, so that is the end of this one. We're going to be looking at some other stats. We're going to do defense. We're going to be doing probably kicking and discipline in one video, and then set piece in another one. And then we're going to have player stats as well. So all that stuff is coming, some tomorrow and some next week in the build up to the quarterfinals. And I'm also going to be doing, if I have time at least, like kind of teams based around individual stats and stuff like that as well, like select 15s the way we did for the Six Nations. But yeah, that's it for this one. Again, if you wouldn't mind, post a comment, hit the like button, share, subscribe, all the stuff that the YouTube algorithm loves, and maybe kind of help grow the channel a bit more. But thank you for all your support through this URC season. We still got plenty more rugby to come.